Good morning, good morning, good morning. Wow, guys, it is Tuesday already. Welcome to Breakfast with the Brand. Your phenomenal host, Sean Rais, has entrusted us once more to deliver you all massive value this morning, and we're everywhere. So, good morning to those that are on LinkedIn. Good morning to those that are on Facebook. Good morning, wherever you are. Let us know where you are. If you're coming in from, say, Seattle, go ahead and put that in the comment section. We love to know where the audience is, how we can give back to you all, and how we can focus the message to make sure that everybody's getting what they need. But this morning, I want to see what the temperature is in the room before we dive deeper, because this morning's topic is a very interesting topic. So, Travis, before we dive into the topic, what's the energy in the room? How you feeling this morning?
First and foremost, thank you for having me. Am I coming through clear?
Yes, sir.
All right, phenomenal. The energy is off the charts. Yesterday I had to cut my routine short due to circumstances. However, today I was able to get the full swing. So
Nice.
I didn't have to skip out on anything. So it feels really good to complete the routine that you're known for getting your day started. What about yourself?
That's good. That's really good. Same. The same. I do a very, very strict routine in the morning, and I do it because I value those things. And that's a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. So, those of you all that have a routine, go ahead and think that through. Put it in the chat if there's something that you do, say religiously, like you do it without fail. This is something that just helps you. It could be meditation, it could be eating breakfast, it could be working out before you start the day. There's certain things that we do that really set us up for success. And you know what they say, God is in the details, and the devil is too. So this morning, what we're going to be talking about is procrastination punishes profits. Procrastination punishes profits. See, we want to help you build your business. And in order to build your business, you got to be able to profit, because that's how we get off of the debt pacifier. The debt pacifier, right? Like we get real good at borrowing money. We get really good at building pitch decks and going and trying to get people to help us start what we can do on our own if we just had the cash. So what we want to be able to do with our businesses is profit. But there's something that we do that prevents a lot of us from profiting. And that's what we're going to help you with today. A lot of us procrastinate. And when we procrastinate, we punish our profitability. So before we dive into this a little bit deeper and go to that first break, Travis, has there been a time in your business, in your business's development, where you procrastinated on something? You had an opportunity and you just let it slip. And when you look back on it, you just, it cost you a lot of money, a lot of time. And you said to yourself, only if I had. Has that ever happened to you?
Uh, I don't know if I've revealed it or not, but I have said I'm in the trading industry, right?
Yes, sir.
So with that being the case, being in the trading industry, that happens all the time. And it's something that just comes as part of the territory. So what I mean by that is that in trading, there are endless opportunities. I'm not going to go super deep into anything, but just know that things happen within things, happen within things, happen within things. So within all types of different time periods, the same things are happening over and over and over and over again. It's almost like that endless mirror image. Have you ever seen that online where it looks like when he looks through that portal or whatever, it just keeps going?
Yeah.
That exists in trading. So since I'm not spending all of my time all day long just staring at the screen, I'm going to miss opportunities. However, in my industry, one of the most important things to do is to not FOMO. You just charge it to the game. However, as a business owner, it's a completely procrastination normally pops up in the sense of not doing things as fast as I should. So don't want to go a whole lot into it right now, but maybe when we come back, we can go ahead and dive a little bit deeper into that.
Let's go. When we get back, we will dive exactly into those things and exactly what procrastination actually is.
Business is like a game of chess. It's not checkers. If you don't know how to lead with a personal brand, then you're losing the battle.
Everything about Sean's talk was fantastic. I mean, I got so much from it.
So he was really bringing fire and passion and just love and spirit to let everybody else know how do you become a leader amongst the leaders.
You hold the key in your hand. There is more power in this phone than there was that took the first man to the moon.
His energy, his dynamic information, gave a really great presentation.
I didn't ask for any money. I didn't have an offer. I had a heart to help people and meet them where they were at and find their need and fulfill it.
Sean is the bomb.
So when you're young, mommy tells you to play nice. Play nice, Timmy. Let all of the other kids play too. But in business, it's not about playing nice. In business, it's about winning. It's about adding multiple zeros to your revenue. Now, of course, your staff wins. And when you win, other people win. However, when it comes to competition, you absolutely must dominate. You can't play for participation, and you can't play just to get along or just to get by, because business is serious. Business will help you to change the world, or the world will change you. Your people will either win or your people will lose based on your level of leadership, what you're willing to do, what you're willing to sacrifice, and how much you know about dominating.
I love that commercial. I love it because it just reminds us of what we're capable of, dominating. And that's what profits is a result of. Profit is a result of domination, dominating your vertical, dominating your industry. And I want to help us today because a lot of times we take for granted the opportunities that are all around us because we don't know why we're procrastinating. See, a question that comes up oftentimes is, how can I make more money? How can I find the right opportunity? How can I get my business from here to here without having this amount of money? Like, everybody's looking for the opportunity, when in reality, the opportunities are all around us, but we're not seizing those opportunities because we're procrastinating. So what is procrastination? You know, I like to write things down. I like to give you all definitions as I write them down because words mean things. So my definition of procrastination is fear of the present, a fear of decision making. It is fearing a decision made in the present will produce a future outcome that you are not equipped to handle. I'm going to say that again. This is procrastination. Like, we're trying to figure out, procrastination punishes profit. So if you're on your day job, you want to leave that so you can do something bigger and better, say in your business. If you're in your day job and you want to go to the next level, you want to be a more profitable asset to your organization, I need you to hear very closely what I'm saying. Procrastination is a fear of making a decision in the present that will produce a future outcome that you are not equipped to handle. So how does this show up in business, in everyday life? It shows up as seeing an opportunity that's all around you and then being faced with a decision to make. But when you don't have the confidence in yourself and in the tools that you have to deal with the present as it arises, we end up foregoing the opportunity. And then we go look for another opportunity. Like, hear what I'm saying? We will forego the opportunity that is right in front of us and go looking for another opportunity. That's the parallel between the field of diamonds analogy. There was an individual that had a field of diamonds in a riverbank on their property, but they were going across the continent to mine for diamonds. But the diamonds were in their very land. So the question that I want you to ask yourself is, do you feel 110% equipped to handle life as it comes? And before I turn it over to Travis, I want to give it to you. I want to give you one more thing. Like, I want to help you. Like, procrastination punishes profit. One of the biggest reasons business owners aren't profiting the way that they want to is because they're refusing to face life as it comes because of these reasons. I'm going to give it to you, and then I'm going to get Travis's take on this. We hold on to the present and live in the future, causing us to avoid the present. We hold on to the past, we live in the future, and we avoid the present. And when we do this, ladies and gentlemen, it's not beneficial. It's not beneficial. It creates procrastination. It creates procrastination because in the past, if you live in the past, you think about all the bad decisions you made. At least that's how you frame them. And you say, man, this didn't work. This didn't work when that happened. I did this and this didn't work. And if you're living in the past, you're afraid to make the decision today, to seize the opportunity today. And then if you live in the future, you may find yourself so futuristic that you're not paying attention to the opportunities in the day. So Travis, what do you have to say about that? Because I know I went a little bit deep on that, but in your personal experience, in your business development, personal development, do you find that definition helpful?
In the sense of procrastination, I agree, and I have a little bit of a different take on it. And but for the most part, it's definitely in alignment. So when we talk about fear and it being, as you stated, like holding on to the past while we're in the future, while we're in the present, but we're looking at the future. So there is a misalignment, so to say. And in business, if I haven't learned anything else from working with Coach Raiz, is that there needs to be a sense of alignment. So when we talk about procrastination, it reminds me of a fairly old movie, not too old, by Adam Sandler, called Click.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And in that movie, there were things that he did not want to deal with in the present. So he had this magical remote that anytime something happened that he didn't want to deal with, he could just click a button and sort of fast forward through it. However, and I'm this spoiler alert, so you might want to mute it if you haven't seen it. It is an old movie, but I think it's still pretty good. In the end, he ends up missing out so much by skipping over what was going on in the present, that the remote control had broken, or it began to malfunction, and he couldn't get it to stop when he wanted to. So it's just, as far as procrastination goes, it's simply, like you said, it's a fear. However, it's something that can become more conquerable, sort of say, because when we start off, naturally we don't know what we don't know. However, one of the things is coming to me right now. One of the things I'm picturing Sean in my ear now, and he's saying progression beats perfection always.
Always. Oh, Travis, that's such a good statement. And the way you place the statement is very important also. So I want to lean into this a little bit, just about the placement of that statement. Progression beats perfection always. There is this book that many of you all have read as business owners called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And the preface of this book talks about a secret. He says, here lies the secret. And he says, I don't want to reveal the secret to you because if I do, it might rob you of the experience. So again, spoiler alert, I'm about to reveal the secret. Or the secret that came to me as I read the book and lived its principles. And procrastination being one of the things the book talks about quite a bit. So in that book, I believe the secret to success and what he was really trying to get us to understand is persistence. Persistence. Now, persistence seems so small when we think about all the other things people say success is made of. They say it's made of hard work. They say it's made of intellect. They say it's made of money. They say it's made of all these other things. But Napoleon Hill, as I've read the book over and over and over again, pretty much said it's all about persistence. It's about showing up in the present a better version of yourself than you were the last time you showed up. And he said, if you do that, if you keep, what did Einstein say? Einstein said, I'm not smarter than anyone else. I just stay with the problem longer. He said, I just sit with the problem longer. I'm more persistent than they are. I'm not smarter than they are, but when they see an obstacle and they leave it where it's at, I employ persistence until I arrive to a conclusion that satisfies my curiosity. See, ladies and gentlemen, you have everything you need in the form of resources, tools, intellect. What if you're watching this right now, you have three things. You have education, experience, and expertise. Some of you have all three of them. You're a triple threat. Right? You got master's degrees, doctorate degrees, 20 years experience, and all types of expertise in different disciplines. Like, you are a triple threat. But when we don't lean into persistence, we end up missing out on the present. Oh my goodness, there's so much here, guys. Like, procrastination punishes profits. Procrastination is a fear of the present. Persistence is the ability to face the present day in and day out as the best and bettering version of yourself. That's business. That's solving problems on the day-to-day basis. That's showing up in the marketplace, putting your ear to the heart of the people, identifying what they're going through, evaluating yourself, your expertise, your education, your insights, and fashioning a solution that they can benefit from. And if the solution doesn't work, you don't give up on the people. You go deeper into yourself and you show up to the same problem and you fashion another solution. And if that doesn't work, you show up to the same problem, a better version of you, and you fashion another solution until you come up with a solution that is viable. It's viable. That's like procrastination. People think procrastination is putting things off. It's not putting things, like, you're putting things off, but I need you to understand why. I need you to understand why. People don't put things off because they're lazy. Some might think, okay, I don't want to generalize. Most people, in my experience, Do not put things off because they're lazy, because they can't do it, because they are afraid or just oblivious. Most people procrastinate and put things off in the present that they should do today simply because they are afraid or unwilling to endure what is required after they've made the decision. And the fear of that, of taking ownership of the responsibility, we fear decision making because we fear the commitment that's required to stay in the decision. How many businesses are you in right now? How many times have you wavered? How many times have you said, I'm going to do this, and now you're doing that? How many platforms have you been on? How many audiences have you? Oh, I don't want to say that. How many times have you saw a group in need and walked away from them? You had a solution. You had a heart that helped them. You started fashioning a solution for them. And when the going got tough, you got going. And you left. And that's what markets are traumatized by right now, in my opinion. And I'm about to turn it over to Travis to get his take on this. But it's like Sean was saying recently, people are traumatized. He was saying that when you build an audience and you lack consistency, the audience then gets burned. They were showing up, you were showing up, and when you left them, they started to figure out what happened. They were wondering what happened. And so many people have this fit start mentality, this have a fit, start something new, have a fit, and then start something new, that the audiences have become traumatized. And when that happens, it just becomes harder and harder to serve the people. So I really want us to dive a little bit deeper into this. So Travis, when we talk about procrastination and we talk about starting things and stopping things, what's your take on that? What say ye?
Oh man. And guilty, again, guilty, full transparency. When we look at this, I don't even, it's almost like an art, because we have to learn to procrastinate. When we think about for those of us that do have children, most of the time procrastination almost doesn't exist for them. They're into something immediately. And with procrastination, what it does is, especially what Bobby was referencing in the social contract, when we put ourselves out there, and let's just say, for example, we begin communicating on LinkedIn, or we begin communicating on a Twitter or a Facebook. And when we begin that, I don't know, let's just say a couple days. We do it for a couple days. Life happens. Something that we did not expect comes up. It may be family oriented. It may be business oriented. It could come from somebody you love. I mean, that's how it often happens to me. It's somebody I love. And just life gets in the way, as Sean and I kind of have a little bit of a inside joke. We say life be lifing. So in that, when we allow ourselves to get derailed in those, as you said, those fits of starting and stopping, I always see it as a train. And being here in Jacksonville, Florida, there's still, there's quite a bit of, the train can get in the way depending on what side of town you go on. So if that train comes to a stop, you can almost guarantee that wherever it was you were looking to get to, you're going to be late, because that train, when it comes to a stop, let's just say, for instance, it's going to our left. We're watching the train go by to our left. And once it comes to a stop, it may even roll backwards a little bit before it can begin going again in the direction that it's intended to go. And even then, when we start at the caboose or the one on the end, as that engine begins to pick up momentum, begins to pick up power, begins to pick up torque, or in this instance for us as business owners, that motivation to get going again, there's the slack in the chains or in the links between to get that train back into motion again. So oftentimes when we have these fits of starting and stopping, we end up finding it harder for us to gain that same momentum had we just pushed through whatever it was that was trying to deter us, whatever tried to present itself as an obstacle, or whatever tried to present itself in a form of procrastination or getting us to put that thing off. Had we persisted, like Napoleon Hill said, like Bobby said, had we persisted and pushed through, even if we didn't necessarily finish it in the time that we would have liked to have finished it, but still finished it, going back to progression, beating perfection always. Having that discipline to do that not only strengthens us as business owners, but it also strengthens that social contract that we have with our clients, that our audience, not our clients, our audience, that we oftentimes might not even really realize we're doing. However, we're communicating with them, I'm unreliable.
Yeah. Man, before we go to the break, I was writing things down, and sometimes I can't write it all down as fast as it comes. But one thing that I just wanted to point out is, guys, I hope you're getting this, because it's oftentimes the subtle things that we miss, that we take for granted. So one, please share this out if this is helping you. If just talking about this is helping you, share it out. Share it out, because these are the things that punish profits that we don't talk about. Everybody's talking about the funnel. Everybody's talking about the marketing strategy. Everybody's talking about the what's the hot topic right now? There's this other thing, that sales. Like what closing technique should I use? And at the end of the day, there are certain opportunities that are right in our faces that we're not seizing, that could move us further, faster, but we're fixated in the future. We're fixated on all the stuff that we're going to have once we get the money, once we got the this and we got the that we overlook the present opportunity. So that's really what we're saying here, is that yes, procrastination shows up in many forms. What we're saying is yes, we have a responsibility to communicate our services. Like yes, progression beats perfection always. Like you guys are picking this up and you're laying it out and you're seeing it. So all I want to do is dive a little bit deeper into the subtlety and underline it for you. The subtlety here is, are we being present? Present. If you show up in the present with all of your will, tenacity, and creativity, and you seize the moment, you'll make it. Let's head to a break, guys.
When I think of brand you, I think of being your best self, your most authentic. The reason why we were able to crush business, absolutely dominate in business without having the marketing list, without having the email huge list, without having the Facebook ads and the advertising budget, without knowing the algorithm. The reason we were able to do this is because I branded myself. I told my authentic story and I was comfortable in my skin. Why? Because it was that time in the world where everything was shifting. It was 2020, March. So you remember what happened during that time. It was like the world was coming to an end. So you didn't have anything to hold back. So I chose to give everything that I had and be everything that I am. And because I was that, because I branded me, because I was authentic, everything shifted. And people wanted more. And they wanted to know more about me and how they could become more comfortable in their skin. Listen, guys, when you brand you and not what you do, you're gonna add a zero to the world. but you'll also add a zero to your revenue. Let's grow. You know, there's nothing that you cannot overcome in this world except that which you refuse to fight. When I say brand, when I say brand and authenticity and being the brand, you gotta know your story. You gotta know your story, you gotta own your story, and you gotta be the champion of your story. It's very important that we control our narrative. It's very important that we don't allow anyone else to control our narrative, because when they control our narrative, they control our freedom. They control our freedom and our future. I don't just want it for me, I want it for everybody. It can happen, and it can happen for you, especially when you get branded like a leader. It's very important that you know yourself to the highest degree possible, because it's through knowing ourselves that we're able to know other people. You are the most important person in the room, and the better that you know yourself, the better that you're able to communicate to others. So you're not only playing the game knowing who you are, but you're also playing the game knowing who everyone else is, so that you're not playing blind.
He's extremely engaging with people. He has a fantastic smile, and he's just a very high energy person.
This is called leadership development. So we have to be independently knowledgeable and considerate to know who we are, so we can more effectively know who other people are. As the leader, it's your responsibility to allocate resources in the right places. If you don't know how to communicate effectively, you're losing the battle.
Man, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. Again, shout out to everybody that's watching this. Please share this out if it's helping you. Be the individual that gives insight, new light, enlightenment, all the things that you're getting. What do they say? Give as freely as you receive, right? So share it out. Share it out. But what I was thinking was story time. Story time. You know, Sean said Les Brown taught him, never have a point without a story and never have a story without a point. And I think we've been giving quite a few points. We've been giving some insights. I think, Travis, I think you might have a story. Do you have a story that you can share with the people?
A story. Okay, got one. So first off, we sticking to procrastination, and that procrastination also can show up in the form of busyness. I want to point that out first, because I was guilty of that starting off as well. Very busy. However, spending a lot of time doing things that weren't the best as far as income producing. So with that, and going to the topic of procrastination or procrastination punishing profits, it reminds me of this story that I heard in my network marketing days. And there's this, I'm in the South, so I'm picturing this old wooden shack, this rundown shack. It's in the middle of a swamp. However, he still has somebody that's a neighbor that's within walking distance. So this older gentleman is sitting on his porch in his rocking chair, and old Blue the hound dog is laying on the porch beside him. And Blue just has a tendency from time to time to just howl, but it's like a mournful, sad howl. So one particular evening, the gentleman has company over, and the dog does his usual mournful howl. So the friend asks, he says, man, what's wrong with your dog? Why is he making that? Why does he sound so awful? So the homeowner lets the visitor know, well, he's sitting on a nail.
Yeah.
So at that time, the visitor, he asked him, well, why doesn't he just move? Like, I mean, that makes the most logical sense, right? It's just get off the nail. So the homeowner has to reply back that until the pain of staying the same, is greater than the pain of change, he's going to continue to sit there and just howl and moan. So what that is, or what that embodies in that story, was that we have the opportunity to make moves or do something different. However, we're going to stay in our current set of circumstances, or as Bobby alluded to in the beginning, holding on to the past, when only when that pain of staying the same, being in the same set of circumstances, the same situation, the same lack of income, maybe lack of profit, maybe lack of moving in the direction as far as retirement that you may want to go, lack of leadership that you want to display in the community, all these different things that we aspire to do, until that pain of staying the same outweighs the pain of staying the same outweighs that pain and that discomfort that's going to come on the other side of procrastination. Only then do we begin to get up off the nail and walk what we talk.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I love that direction, the direction you took that, because it makes me think about a particular close that I was working on. So, as a business owner, as a high ticket closer, we have what is known as a tie down. So, a tie down is when you tie the client down. You put them in a space where they, and they're a prospect. So I said client, you tie the prospect down. So a tie down simply means if you cut off all areas of retreat and exit, they are forced to make a decision, yes or no. Now, you're not manipulating them into making the decision you want them to make, but you are tying them down so effectively that they have to make a decision, because so many of us are afraid of making decisions. So in closing, a tie down is that process. It's the process of equipping the prospect with as many tools as possible to keep them from weaseling out, if you will. So there was a close that I developed. And in this close, I said, the money you have is a burden to you. Let me bear that. Let me bear that for you. And that was the close. That was like the closing tie down. I would say, and this is how I would set it up. I would say, do you believe that you are capable of anything that you set your mind to? And they said, yes. Yes, I do. Then I would say, has there ever been a time in your life where you were down and out, working on figuring something out, didn't have the money to get things done, but you were in desperate need of financial resources or a resource, and you were committed to having this thing? And they said, yeah, plenty of times. And then I asked them, well, did you get it? And they said, yeah, I got it. I said, right on time, right? They said, yeah, right on time. And I said, wonderful. So what that leads me to believe is that you are more than capable of doing more with less. Would you say that you produce some of your best work under pressure? They say, yeah, man, when I'm doing my assignments and I don't have nothing to do but an hour to get it done, they'll say, I've knocked out 6 days of work in 2 hours. I said, really? Really? And they say, yeah. And I say, well, if I'm reading you right, and I think I am, you might be burdened by the amount of money that you have in your bank account. And I would be more than happy to bear that burden for you so that you could be as efficient as possible. Do you believe that a greater level of effectiveness and efficiency is what you need right now? And they say, I think I do. And I say, wonderful. When would you like to start? Exhibiting super high amounts of effectiveness and efficiency. They will say, yesterday. I need this done now. And I will say, wonderful. We have 3 burden bearing buckets. I can bear as much of your burden as you would like. Would you like me to bear as much of the burden as possible or just a little? They will say, I mean, bear as much of it as possible. I really need to get out there and get after this thing. And I say, wonderful. Here's our gold product and package. With this, you will be making an investment in yourself of X, but it's not really an investment in yourself. It's a passing of the burden so that you can be free. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a tie-down close that I developed based on this principle that he just talked about. And the principle is what motivates us. In communication, we say that a need satisfied does not motivate. If your needs are already met, if you're already satisfied, there's no motivation that's coming. So if a person has money and you try to sell them on something that has to do with money, so to speak, like that's not going to motivate them. Like they've got the money in the bank. The money that they're holding on to is the problem. They need to be free. So they need to give up the money, but they're not going to give you the money under 2 conditions in most cases. 1, if they feel like they need to hold on to the money. And then 2, if they feel like, 1, they feel like they need to hold on to the money. And 2, they feel like you're not going to be a better steward of it than them. That's usually the two reasons. Like if I invest in a coach, it's because I believe the money that I invest there is going to benefit me better than if I held on to it, right? So those are the concepts that we're talking about here. So when we dive deep into what we've been talking about with procrastination, I wanted to get here. I hope y'all are ready for this. How much money are you holding on to? How much money are you holding on to? Like my coach taught me to live on zero. He said, Bobby, if I ever hit you and I'm like, hey, how we doing? What's the numbers looking like? And you say, absolutely phenomenal. It's rolling in thick. I have an obligation to relieve you of some of that burden. So what is he really saying? He's really saying that you're most creative, most innovative, most efficient when you have a reason to be that way. And most people have not given themselves a reason to unleash the beast. You got a beast in you. You're a monster in every positive sense of the word. Like you are a shark in the water. But the problem is sharks don't they don't eat if they're not hungry. Like lions don't move unless they have something to hunt. And we have a lot of aggressive, powerful, mindful, educated individuals that are docile because they are sitting on too much money. Pass that burden to somebody else. It's a burden. Like, I'll give you guys this before I turn it over to Travis. The best things in life are free. The things we pay for are a burden to the supplier of what we paid for. In other words, the best things in life are free. The things we pay for are a burden to someone else. If you're not buying things, like if you're not purchasing cheerfully, intelligently, happily, if you're not getting rid of the money, You're holding on to a burden. And it's a burden because it's limiting your creative spirit. But when you give up the money, you place a burden on someone else because now they have an obligation to deliver you what you have requested in the equivalent manner. So if you give someone $100,000, you've placed a burden on them to give you $100,000 worth of value. So it's burden shifting. We have to have the right mindset about money. What do they say? Let it flow freely. People got bank accounts, savings accounts, investment accounts. Them things is stacked with bread. Let it flow. Let it go. You don't need it. What you need is persistence and to conquer procrastination. Man, we got to go to a break. It's going to be you, Travis, when we come back. Like, just lay in. You gave such a phenomenal story, and I just needed to hit on that because it's a powerful perspective.
It's very important that you know yourself to the highest degree possible, because it's through knowing ourselves that we're able to know other people. You are the most important person in the room, and the better that you know yourself, the better that you're able to communicate to others. So you're not only playing the game knowing who you are, but you're also playing the game knowing who everyone else is, so that you're not playing blind.
He's extremely engaging with people. He has a fantastic smile, and he's just a very high energy person.
This is called leadership development. So we have to be independently knowledgeable and considerate to know who we are, so we can more effectively know who other people are. As the leader, it's your responsibility to allocate resources in the right places. If you don't know how to communicate effectively, you're losing the battle.
Man, wow, it feels like we're right back in and at 'em. So I'm going to turn that over to Travis because he really set that thing up and allowed us to go somewhere special. So as we close out the last segment here, Travis, what has been your technique for handling and overcoming procrastination? How do you keep it in check?
Well, I think I have to quote the late, great Jim Rohn. And I wouldn't do it justice because I do not have it written down. As you know, we don't script any of these things. So he brought up a phenomena, and essentially what that phenomena states is the longer we take to do something, there's essentially a cost associated with it. It goes under the name of a law. However, like I said, it eludes me right now. However, when we have that inspiration to do something, my secret weapon has been to act on it as immediately as possible. I want to say, because I have a real estate background, it reminds me of depreciating assets. So it's as though it's a depreciating asset. You're being given this creative asset, and if you don't use it, you lose it. Or as time goes by, that motivation, that inspiration, that feeling of energy that comes when you first get the idea, when it's fresh, when it's hot out the oven, that's when we're at our greatest, or when I find myself to be at the greatest potential. But I didn't come up with that on my own. It was something that Jim Rohn had said, and I took it to heart. I figured, what do I have to lose? Let's give it a shot. And in doing so, what I've come to realize is I visualize it like this. I see this golden cup. And in this golden cup, there's this revitalizing and energizing fluid that's being poured into it. So as it's being poured into me, I cannot receive more until I give it away. And in doing so, in giving it away, it's twofold. it not only helps me and challenges me to make sure that my understanding of something is so comprehensive that I can take it and adapt it to the various walks of life, no matter what the industry is. If I really know what it is, my passion, my craft, I can take that thing and dissect it or turn it at a different angle so that that individual can see it in a light that is most agreeable to them. So in that, and in doing so, I picture this faucet of that revitalizing fluid being poured into the cup. And as I see my network, sort of say, or those that are around me, as I take what I have and pour into their gold cups, it enriches them just as much as it enriches me. So it's just seeing the culmination and seeing how everything builds on each other. Even what you said before we went to the break, it resulted to, or it's related to what we talked about yesterday about the 5 laws of money and being that good steward of the money. So being able to invest it, it's just so, I find it so phenomenally interesting how interconnected everything is.
Yes.
And I mean, I can go on about this for
No.
too long. So I'm gonna turn it back over to you, Bobby, because I
No.
feel like I'm about to go a little too deep into the rabbit hole.
No, that was great. I mean, you're helping the people, brother. I can see Lawana Bradford said, Travis, you just dropped a golden nugget. Knowledge and understanding is needed before we begin to start pouring into others. Like how I was writing too. I know y'all saw me over here. I'm just writing down and taking notes. And this is what this platform's about. You know, it's about helping each other. It's about building our brands. It's about improving our leadership, becoming those leaders that we need to be. And leaders are readers. Leaders are sharers of information. Leaders are the types of people that take ownership and responsibility of the past, present, and the future. And today we just so happen to be talking about present. So what I'd like to leave with you guys is a little bit of something to write down. Something to write down. Procrastination is holding on to security. Proactivity is taking responsibility of possibilities. So when we suffer from procrastination, oftentimes we're holding on to a security that we have. And sometimes, Les Brown said this, people are more likely to stay in a familiar hell than they are to go to a unfamiliar heaven. And this is because we hold on to securities and we can be secure in a painful situation because we know the pain. We've become accustomed, right? And that's procrastination. Procrastination is really holding on to security. And what abundance is it's the ability to allow things to flow, to allow things to come in freely and flow out freely. And when we talk about proactivity, we talk about, so being proactive, a lot of people don't use the word this way, but I want to give it to you guys in its true context, or in the context that is most meaningful to me, the most practical, right? So proactive is the ability to act. It's the ability to respond. So responsibility is a synonym for proactivity. So responsibility is your ability to respond. It's your ability to respond. Many people are reactive instead of responsive. And seizing opportunities requires you to respond to the present instead of react to your past or to an unmet expectation of the future. So, what we have to be able to do if we want to seize opportunities, if we want to maximize the present, is we have to be able to take responsibility of the possibilities. And here's the thing. It's possible that things won't go the way you want them to. And that's why so many people cling to security, because they don't have the response ability to handle possibilities outside of those that are favorable. Derek Jeter put it like this. He says, hitting the home run grand slam in the moment that matters most is also the same moment in which you could miss the grand slam in the moment that matters most. So what that really means is what matters most is swinging with all thy might, understanding and taking full responsibility for either outcome. See, when you take responsibility for the possibilities, you can act in the present with authenticity. And most people are just not willing to take responsibility for the possibilities, so they find their present fleeting away from them because they're clinging to the security that they know, and that is procrastination. I wanted to give this to you, like, that's procrastination. And procrastination, what? Punishes profits. So what am I really saying this morning? If you want more profitability, if you want more increase in your business, if you want to do more, be more, have more, you want to take responsibility for the possibilities of loss and the possibilities of increase. And then you want to equip yourself with the tools you need to handle either outcome. And when you can do that, persistence is available to you. The person that does not feel confident in their ability to meet circumstances as they arise will not show up to them because they don't believe they're equipped. So they duck them. We've got 1 minute left. Close us out, Travis. What are your thoughts?
You know me, I like, brevity is my thing. If I could leave everyone with one thing, it would be to take that analogy that was given before about the procrastination or that law of a depreciating asset or depreciating inspiration, and apply it to just one thing. Just simplify it down. I mean, it can be so simple. It can be something you don't understand. Let's say marketing. At least choosing to research marketing, writing it down into eternity, writing it down into the book of life, so to say, to manifest it out here into this reality. Just writing it down and committing to whatever that one thing is. I'm going to Google marketing. I'm going to Google coaching. I'm going to Google leadership. Just decide. Going back to the 4 Ds, decide. Just decide. And that is the secret.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the secrets to overcoming procrastination.
I absolutely love it. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes Breakfast with the Brand this morning. We will be on tomorrow. I believe Sean Ra'is will be here holding it down Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, if you are I'm trying to say two things at one time. Catching or checking this out on the replay, go ahead, #replay. And if you saw this live, comment. We love the interactions, and it helps us to give you guys exactly what you need. We'll see you all tomorrow.